とせよ。応答せよ。おかしいわね、おじさん。しげるったら1時間も連絡がないのよ。
まあいいじゃないか。プラクサター滅びたんだ。しげるだって骨休みぐらいしたいだろうに。
口笛高くやってくる強い男はストロンガー仲間はタクル
Look at that dog. The heavens call to him. The earth calls to him. The people call for him to... Oh, wait. Really up close. Was that? Yeah. The people call on him to growl at his owner, the reviewer of justice. Who? Me? I've been covered for cheaper before you were anything. There's not too much to ask. Much better. Hello and welcome to Kamen Rider. Wait. Much better. Hello and welcome to Kamen Rider Blackman, and today we will be reviewing Kamen Rider Stronger. Another one of the Heisei era, the Showa era, that I just wanted to review. Okay, look, I'm busy in a little bit, and my folks just went out to go visit my grandfather, who's in the hospital. He's doing fine now. Prayers out to him. But yeah, Kamen Rider Stronger. This show, it's another show from the Showa era that I was a bit curious to watch, just to see how it is, because I've heard some flack about it, and I've heard people say that they really like it. And I'm getting into this show saying, I'm getting into it and I'm leaving the show and I'm saying, it's not terrible, but there are things wrong with it. Like, I'm not saying at the moment that I like it or that I hate it. I'm saying that this show was... Well, first things first, before getting into anything involving the show, I would like to first give a shout out to one of the sources where I actually managed to watch the show on, Midnight Crew Subs. I caught them on Facebook groups. Which ones in particular elude me. But yeah, Midnight Crew Subs, shout outs to them. If anyone's interested in watching Stronger for the first time or in general, just go check them out. If you look them up like how I did by just searching on Facebook, then there you go. Midnight Crew Subs. Hope you guys would enjoy them. So, now with Stronger, let's start off with the opening, which I do like. It's not a bad song by any means. I just feel like compared to others before and after it, it's not as dynamic. Like, it's less about the main character, and it talks more about, I guess, the duties of a superhero, with very little descriptions about him. Which is not bad, but compared to all the other Showa openings that there are out there, it's not particularly that high, at least to me. But again, I do not think it's a terrible song. Another thing, that this show also has two ending themes. I like the first one a lot more because it talks about two of the main characters, Stronger and another one, which I'll get into in a bit. And the second one is more all about Stronger, and I just prefer the first ending theme a lot more, as I was just playing it in, well, the opening, well, thumbnail. And so, let's get started with the first episode. And the first episode is, it's more like a regular episode, because we don't learn anything about anyone until episode 2. It's like watching Power Rangers Samurai when it first comes on television. Like, we don't get episode 1, we instead get episode 3. That's what it feels like, that's what it basically is here. And in episode 2, we get our character's backstory. So, in episode 2, our hero for this season, his name is Shigeru Joe, a former college football player whose best friend was murdered by the villains of this season, Black Satan. Yeah, that name, Black Satan, as opposed to all different kinds of Satan, like white Satan, blue Satan, purple Satan. No, Black Satan, because black was evil in the 70s. Anywho, so yeah, Shigeru's best friend was murdered by the villains of the show, Black Satan, and because Shigeru's friend was abducted by Black Satan to be turned into a cyborg. The surgery, however, was a failure, so they killed him. Sometime later, Shigeru finds his way to a Black Satan secret base and asks to become a cyborg, and they agree to do so. The reason why the surgery failed last time was because Shigeru's friend's body couldn't handle it. So kudos for showing that not everyone could just be a cyborg, making the deciding process more selective. Think about it. In Power Rangers RPM, Dylan went through 100 different tests to see if he can handle the powers. Changing your body to have machine-like mechanics is one thing, but there's also the matter of physicality, if one could truly take it. After Shigeru's surgery was a success, he is revealed to now be a cyborg with the power of electricity. But I gotta ask, did they cut off his hands and then replace them with metal hands that can conduct electricity? Seriously, I don't think he has normal hands anymore. I thought the whole becoming a cyborg gig was more concrete than that. What the hell? The scientists next take Shigeru to swear allegiance to Black Satan's great leader, but Shigeru instead reveals his motives for sneaking in here and uses them to complete his plan. He then proceeds to smash his way through the place and gets out of there, but not without leaving with another now electricity-infused human named Yuriko, who can now become the Electro-Wave Human Tackle. Wow. Jacob, what are your thoughts?
Thank you. It sounds like some sort of fishing supply store that also deals in VCRs. Yeah. It's stupid.
Had to do it. So, yeah, let's talk about Tackle's look. This outfit was, for the very first female Showa hero, or for what I've heard, not, I'll say this, compared to Rider Man, it's not as egregious. Or at least I'm saying that about the helmet. The chest, maybe, that's just... The helmet's not as egregious as Rider Man's. That's all I can say. The rest of the suit is dated and just... Okay, well, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just dated. Tackle herself is more on the line of being a prototype secondary rider, because when the fighting starts, she's more useful against the minions, but when it's to the higher up monsters, she gets curved like immediately. And the reason she exists too is because female fans I know words. Yeah, the reason she exists too is because female fans of the franchise were personally writing to creator Shotaro Ishinomori about wanting a heroine to play as with male friends, and he did it. Like, having more women in this particular franchise is and will always be a demand, not just for female empowerment, but for equality. And thankfully, we're 2 years into the Reiwa era, and we're finally getting that. But for the inspiration to start it off, and I'm going to sound like a huge nerd when I say this, and I know I will. Could she not have been on the same power tier as Rider Man and Kuga growing form? Like, I'm being dead serious. I'm not just talking about her only being able to handle the mooks. She has literally one special move and no others. Seriously. Electrowave toss. That's it. Sadly, behind the scenes, Yuriko's actress had very bad asthma, so she couldn't do as much as she could do in terms of her own stunts. It would have been smarter to cast another actress, but hell, I wasn't there in 1975, so we got what we have. Matter of fact, let's talk about Stronger next, since we actually saw Tackle first and Stronger second. And so, Stronger suit. It's okay. Let me start off with this: the helmet and those eyes. I don't have an issue with the horn. My matter is all on those big ass eyes. Like, compare this to Kuga and that helmet. The eyes are a good enough size. They're not too big. And then the horn is big as it is, but that's fine because it's a beetle. For Stronger, however, he has big ass eyes. Like, if anything was to, like, get in his face like this, he should still be able to see, sort of. Like, at least just try to move your corneas or something. Those eyes are just way too big. And for the suit itself, it looks so blown up. Like, I think one person's defense for it was because Shigeru was a football player. But dude, come on. You're going to be punching and kicking. And you gotta move your hips and your torso some. Just for some activity. I'm just saying. And while we're at it, let's talk about Kabuto's bike. I mean, Stronger's bike. My bad. To which, by the way, I'm not too sure if anyone would find this fact of importance at all, but Stronger is the first rider to be based off of a beetle. While, of course, the second is Kuga, but I just thought that'd be something to mention. Since, I don't know, beetle-themed riders are rare these days. So, as for Stronger's bike, the Kabutoro, it's... really, I have no opinion on it. It's red. You can see the sparking motif with it. An earlier concept for it was going to be able to fly, but it never went to fruition. So, yeah, pretty much. So now, let's talk about Black Satan. The first general we meet is Titan. He has a human form, but he's supposed to be a Cyclops, I'm assuming. But, anywho, also, another interesting fact about Titan, for anyone who has seen Kamen Rider build, they may be able to recognize Titan's actor, because his actor was Namba in build, like one of the villains, that old man villain in that show, who is in charge of the Namba Industries. Yeah, he first showed up in this show. And so, next, let's talk about the minions. I believe they're called the Black Satan Soldiers, for what I've seen. They're pretty simple. And they actually remind me of two types of minions, too. The minions from Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, the Batlings, and those other minions from that show, Ryukendo. Though I'm pretty sure the only difference between them is that I'm pretty sure on the Black Satan soldiers, their ears are a bit flappy like this, as if they're wearing, I want to say, Adam West Batman mask, if that's accurate enough. But yeah. Another interesting thing about these minions too, this show actually has plenty of biking scenes in the first half of Stronger taking on the minions while they're all on motorcycles. That's actually quite an interesting thing to do with the minions. Because think about it. Most days, when we get minions, they're just there to fight the bad guys. But a long time ago, the minions would be used in certain dynamic ways. I'm trying to think of some examples too. Like maybe from... Oh, here's one example. From Kyoryuger and Shinkenger. In Kyoryuger, the minions could actually come together to create those giant monsters. I think they're called the Paramonsters or something, or Zorimas. I don't remember the names. And in Shinkenger, the minions could also come up giant size. So I'm not saying that this is as good as that, but it's a good early start for having the minions do plenty of different things, as opposed to just, hey, here are the minions, go after Stronger or whatever. And yeah, them using motorcycles too. Well, back then motocross racing was still new, so I guess they wanted to do plenty with that. So, in episode 3, we get the return of Tobei Tachibana for the last time in the Kamen Rider series, because the actor Akichi Kobayashi this is basically the last series that he will be a part of. And some point, I just know I will watch V3 and the original show. V3, that is. The original show I know was like 98 episodes, so ooh. Oh, so now, before we get up to episode 13, not a lot happens. It's just Monster of the Week after Monster of the Week for the first half, that is. And, which, by the way, the monsters in this show, 1, they're called mecha monsters, and 2, they do this really creepy thing where they'll take the form of these insects called Satan bugs, and they'll crawl into people's ears to possess their bodies for the scheme of the week. Very creepy. But yeah, it's before episode 13, it's just Monster of the Week after Monster of the Week. And the only way a couple of episodes stand out from each other is by how Stronger kills the Monster of the Week some type of way. Because, real talk right now, having the power of electricity is less blunt than you think. Because Stronger actually uses the power of electricity in plenty of different ways. Like, for example, he one time creates an electromagnetic force field, to which I'm sad he doesn't use so often or again after that one episode. It's like, in the first half of the show, he uses his powers in plenty of dynamic ways. But in the majority of the time, he sticks with the Rider Kick. But when he doesn't use that, he does have two moves that I can name off the top of my head. One move is called the Electro Stream, where he'll throw a monster into a body of water and then shock them to death from there. Because yes, our electricity-powered Kamen Rider has the special move of throwing an electronic in a bathtub and killing someone that way. Another move just shocks the hell out of me, because he has this one move called the Electro Thunder, where he freaking summons lightning to strike someone down. Do you know how fucking awesome that is? Like, honest to God, if you can do something like that, don't bother doing anything else. You can just end the whole fight like, oh really? Power of Zeus. Done. Like, damn, yeah. And so, episode 13, Titan pulls off a plan where he sends letters to Shigeru and Yuriko about Yuriko's brother, who was captured by Black Satan and has started to escape. Spoiler alert, her brother died from a failed cyborg conversion surgery, and the monster of the week was masquerading as him. Stronger and the monster fight, and Titan soon turns on the monster in the hopes of, that is a timer that I had just for purposes. I wanted to see how long I'd be reviewing for. Anywho, Titan soon turns on the monster in the hopes of killing Stronger, and once Titan and Stronger fight, none of Stronger's moves are working. But you know what does kill him? Throwing Titan into a body of water. And no, he doesn't drown to death or anything. He earlier raised his body temperature to 24,000 degrees. That's as hot as magma. And cold ocean water kills him. I'm not even bothered by the science. There's no flash, there's no special tricks. Just water that kills him because this is the Wizard of Oz. I changed my mind. I looked it up to see what happens when you mix magma with water. What happened in Titan's case is fragmentation. Basically, when magma or lava meets any body of water, it'll cause an explosion of both elements. So how he died was completely and scientifically accurate. Still funny though.